Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Erin's Book Club. It has been forever since I've done a book review for a few things. My basement is currently leaking, and our fridge died, and the horse that I absolutely adore decided that I needed to meet the dirt at a rapid rate of speed. So there's been a few things going on where reading has not taken a priority lately. And even now, because we just got the old fridge out, the house is a disaster, so I've been distracted. That being said, I finally have a book review to do with you guys today. Apparently I can't talk either, which let's just add that to the list. I finally finished the duology of the Ash Lords. The first book was the Ash Lords, and I did a review on this earlier, and I strictly bought it because I loved the cover. Like, the cover is just gorgeous. So I bought that, and I read that, and I didn't understand at the time that it is actually a duology. I thought that was the end, and it was a standalone book, and I was really upset because it seemed to stop right in the middle of the story. The reason it did was because there was a whole other book with just the same beautiful cover. Whoever you chose to do your artwork, let's see, author is Scott Reintgen. I can't do, I'm just going to call you Scott. I'm very sorry, but I'm bad with names. Whoever you chose to do your artwork on your covers, don't change these. These are phenomenal. These are what attracted me to these books. I have never heard of Scott as an author, and I am so glad that I took a chance on these books. They're amazing. So the first book was about oppression and the class system and mythology and beliefs and rebelling against that and the ramifications of that. This book, the second book called Bloodsworn, is, about what happens in the war. And not just in the war. I think what made me fall in love most about this book is a lot of this book dealt with what happens after the war. How do they redo their society? Again, not a spoiler-free review. And I guess this is one of my newer books. So if you haven't read this book, read it and come back. Usually I don't have to worry about spoilers because I can only afford the super old books. But I splurged. But yeah, you got to read it and come back. But anyway, so this was not just about the war, but what happens after the war? How do you build a new war? What are the interpersonal skills as you build a new war? What about the ramifications for the actions that happened in the war? And how do you become a good leader if one of your family members were doing some of the awful things? I just, the entire concept of all of it was put into the book. It wasn't just a entertaining story that romances war. It was an entertaining story that got to the nitty-gritty and hell of war, that kept in mind that these characters were still kids, basically, and the growth that they did going through that with an immature mind and how they dealt with the blood and gore and everything else. There was a lot of description of character building. All in all, it was a quick, easy, lovely read, entertaining read, that I felt drawn into. I felt the author hold my hand and take me through the story. I do have some criticisms. Probably both of them are... One minute. Excuse me. Both of them are my own opinions, so I'm sure it won't bother a lot of folks. But I hate the change of perspective with the change of character. If we're going to talk in first person, I want all of the characters to talk in first person. I found it jarring to the point that it kind of took me out of the story to go from, he did this, she did this, you see, she sees this, or whatever, to, you feel this way, you did this, you think this way. For me, it was very jarring. It ruined the flow. But again, that's a personal thing. Also, the main draw of this series was these phoenix horses, these horses that got reborn and that kind of thing. And in both these books, they weren't the star character that I was hoping that they would be. They are just kind of in the background, taught about and not taught, or talked about and not really. You don't really get to know them. They're just there. They are. Here they're helping us. You don't get to know who they are. They're just tools of the trade. But again, that's a personal opinion. Nothing to do with the way the book was written, kind of thing. So, all in all, really, really enjoyed this duology. I would love to know more about this world. I'd love to know more about these horses. I want to know about how you train them. What if you bond with them? Is it a different horse each time? Like, I want to know more. I loved this series. I love that they're the same height. Yeah, you know what? This is an author that I might look into reading again, and totally thrilled with the experience. So, thank you very much, guys, and I will let you know when I have another book read.